So here we have an Acer a515-54 series, and I'm going to show you how to replace the laptop screen. You might have one of these new ones and it'll power on and it won't display on the screen. Now the keyboard light might light up. So one way to confirm that you need to replace the screen is to hook it up to a monitor or to a TV through the display output right here. And if you get a display on the monitor or whatever you hook it up to, then that pretty much will let you know that the screen's shot. This screen right here is shot. It's not cracked or nothing. It just went dark on me, and you pretty much have to troubleshoot those kind of things. So before you work on a laptop, it's usually a good idea to disconnect the battery. So I already took the screws out. They're about 10. Actually 11 screws. And so once you get those out, you want something that's small and flat to help pry open the bottom of the case. And I have my handy dandy little flathead right here. So that's what I'll use, a credit card or whatever else should work too. And it's kind of tricky to get in there, but as soon as you pry it a little bit, get a little bit of leverage and it'll open her up. The battery is just connected to this port right here. Now, I have the red light flashing right here. If I were you, I would go through the trouble of holding down the power button to turn it off completely. But I'm just gonna risk the biscuit and unplug it right here. Alrighty, so getting to the screen is pretty simple, really. So you have the bezel around the screen to take off, and then I like to take this piece off right here. It's not super necessary, but you know. So right here, I just use my fingernails to kind of get in there, but you could also use a small flathead just like this, and really get in there, just get a little bit of leverage, and then once you pry it open, you'll hear the first few pins unclick. Now you want to take your time with this because too much stress will snap the bezel. It's just a thin piece of plastic, of course. So just take your time, use your fingernails, or use whatever tool. Use your credit card to kind of just work across the surface. With these screens, they're not screwed in. They're two strips of adhesive on the back of them. If you know for sure your screen's broken, then don't have any inhibitions about breaking your screen trying to take it out because it's broken anyway, right? So what I would recommend is using a credit card or something to help. Alright, so I went and fetched a card to use. Now, here's a little dirty secret. I already took the old screen off, and this is actually my new screen, but the process I'm showing here is essentially the same. I'm just going to go through the motions and show you what I did to remove it in the first place. So what you'll want to do is this is going to be firmly fixed to the chassis right here. So you're going to put your hands on the back of it and add some pressure, which will bend the chassis a little bit, but will also push the screen off from the chassis too. And then you'll want to get something, right? So whether it's a screwdriver or something flat, something that can reach, and really just slice down in there to kind of cut that adhesive. And it's not going to be a smooth go at all. It's going to take some effort. It's going to take patience. So just really focus on really pushing this away. And once you create a little bit of space, you can just kind of ease your way down, just cut away at the adhesive, and then work your way off one side, and then you'll pretty much do the same to the other side once you get that one side done. And you'll do the same thing. It'll be easier because this side will be free. So yeah, cat's out of the bag. I actually already did this, and I had thrown the old screen away. before I decided to make this video, but it's pretty much that. You have 2 adhesive strips that are in the back of this, and now that the screen is out, okay, so one thing to touch on is the HDMI cable. So I'm going to show you. Alright guys, so while my camera tries to refocus on what's going on, this is the screen right here. I took off the adhesive, and this is the cable that plugs into the screen. Now, this black strip right here is actually an adhesive that was originally down here. So I basically just took my time and kind of scraped that adhesive off. And once you do that, you pretty much just unplug it. It plugs straight, just like that. What I'm going to do is use electric tape to kind of tape it back together. And I advise using that. I wouldn't use any other kind of tape because these are electrical parts, and you want to use stuff that's anti-static. So I would use electric tape. So yeah, I just put a strip of electric tape across the cable, and that should hold. Alright, so as far as putting this thing back on, you can try to reuse the adhesive that you take off. What I'm deciding to do is to use my double-sided tape, and I'm just going to use 2 strips like I had before. And yeah, you don't really need too much. Where's mine? Okay, so I have my double-sided tape on. I hope you do a better job than I did on this side. It's a little tricky when it's, you know, sticking to your fingers and whatnot. You could say it's a sticky situation. So I am going to apply it back to the chassis, and when you get your new screen, you're going to have a plastic film over it, which I think is really awesome because that protects it. So yeah, got it, my nice little IPS panel right here. Now, when you apply if you're using double-sided tape, or even most tapes, the first application is the most important. You don't want to botch it and then have to reapply it, because then you'll basically lose a lot of adhesive power. So here we are right there. So now we're going to put this back on. So yeah, just kind of use your hands, or silly me, use your fingers to, you know, work your way around the sides and push the pins back in. Now, the pins at the bottom will be the hardest. So just be patient, really just try and feel your way back in, and even move the screen, or not the screen itself, but the chassis that holds the screen. You know, move that to kind of help you guide, so where you can put get the bezel at the bottom back in place. You don't want to have that look of a loose bezel at the bottom. So yeah. And once you really get one in place, or get one lined up and locked in, that usually means that the others are lined up and ready to get pushed in. So just try and find one pin, and then just work your way across. Alright, so I plugged my battery back in, and we're right there. So yeah, we got her working. I hope this helps. Yeah, easy enough. Just disconnect the battery, take the bezel off, and work your way slowly and take the 2 strips of adhesive off the old screen. Pull the old screen out, add new adhesive, preferably double-sided tape, just like this, or of your choosing, And after that, get some anti-static wipes and clean your new screen off and enjoy. Thank you very much.